It's a niche thing, but I know you'll appreciate it because, again, we're the same base.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
Awesome. Subscribe to the podcast, KFC Radio on YouTube.
Bang.
Jay's Kanye is fucking incredible.
The Denzel shit on SNL too back in the day.
Bro,
the
the Unstoppable sketch is still
Yes.
one of my favorites. Who is it with Chris Pine? Who plays Chris Pine in it? I forget, but it was that sketch kills. You don't know how to stop the train.
I think I've seen that.
By the way, a very rewatchable movie. Speaking of that,
Did you see the rewatchable draft?
Yes.
You were not on that, were you?
No.
Okay, good. It's the worst draft I've ever seen.
Well, the thing is they have like the categories, which fucks it up, but still.
Yeah.
like that doesn't affect my
number one.
Titanic?
Like first, Glenny is just Glenny. He's just gonna pick his things.
Yeah.
He chose like a Mickey Mouse movie.
Yeah, Mickey. The only thing I'll say about that, Christmas movies should be on there because you rewatch it every Christmas season.
Yes.
But Mickey Mouse.
Did Home Alone even get drafted?
No. Yeah. Home Alone didn't get drafted. The Rock didn't get drafted. Face Off didn't get drafted. Con Air didn't get drafted.
You gotta do those TNT shows that are just like because they're what do you watch because there's a reason they're on TNT because they know
put
people
them on.
watch them.
Yeah.
Ocean's 11, I throw on there.
Sure. It's basically TNT and TBS movies. Go through that catalog, you know.
I went in so mad. I was like, if these motherfuckers, I tweeted, I was like, if no one took Die Hard, I'm going to kill someone.
Yeah,
not even listening. It made the first round. I was like, all right. It was Chief, though. I was like,
but
Die Hard with a vengeance. Fuck.
there was one on there that was like,
Billy Madison.
Are you waiting on us or are we waiting on you?
Oh, no. I thought you guys were going.
Oh, okay. Oh, I guess technically, yeah, it's part of the show.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. We got Big Daddy Clem in the building. Whatever. That's part of the show. Clem. My favorite fucking guy at Barstool.
Oh,
this is awkward. Would have rolled right off my back unless you didn't make a face. Yeah.
No, Clem is funny. I mean,
I'm your buddy. He's your wife, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what it's like. Well, no, what it really is. Sometimes I wonder if me and John met as kids, we probably wouldn't have been friends.
Nah, you wouldn't have liked me.
Yeah, I think you would have bullied me.
Oh,
and I don't think I would have liked you.
I wouldn't have considered bullying you. I wasn't a bully.
And I don't get bullied.
It's hard to wear this outfit and say you weren't a bully. I know you. I don't think you're a bully, but you look like a bully.
Jay Farrow was on. He was like, "Who here does the booger sugar?" And I was like, "Does any of the outfits here jump out at you, dude?"
It is like this is for sure an '80s villain shirt.
It's great.
And I guess because I aspired to be something I couldn't be, like most people. And when I was younger and I watched movies,
you wanted to be that guy.
They wore these, and I was like, "Damn, that dude's cool." Like I watched movies the wrong way. Like,
you were for the bad guy.
Yeah, man, that guy's fucking making some good points. That dude is a nerd.
Beat that guy up.
But I always liked these sweaters, and
I can't believe this is the first time he's ever had a sweater like this.
I've had
different colors full of those.
I've had different colors, and I've had sweater vests I really like, and like probably the last 2 years, I was always checking. I probably looked twice, but the 2 times I looked at Brooks Brothers, it was sold out, and very recently I was like, oh, it's in stock, so I bought it, and I like it.
It's very Feitelberg.
I just had my first Newport visit last summer, and how were you like the king of Newport or whatever you fucking go to?
Right.
And you didn't have one of those in the rotation.
First of all, I don't call myself.
I know you wouldn't call yourself.
And I'm not. There was a time where I was a big Newport guy. I did not get back there often. But I don't know. It's just. But
this is what I'm saying. Like you would have dressed like this, and you would have played hockey, and you would listen to the Kill Yourself punk music.
Yeah.
And
we're wearing the same outfit right now. As I'm looking at us, I'm like,
Feitelberg said something the other day. He goes, in life, you were either a rap fan or like a punk emo fan. And in a greater discussion, that's who you hung out with. That's what you like. That's what you dress like, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, I mean, and I don't know if it's because we grew up in relatively the same place in relatively the same years, but I feel like we would have been listening to the same music, rooting for the same teams, playing the same sports, eating the same food, liking the same girls, hanging out with the same guys, like all of that.
We would have been in the same
friends.
pod, right? There's every high school has like 8 pods or whatever. You have the nerds, the geeks, the jocks, whatever. I think we're kind of like, I think we kind of could hang with everyone, right? And
Yeah.
because you also
I
liked
was
everything.
kind of a chameleon, yeah.
Like the Star Wars guys are talking Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but
Yeah.
then the jocks are talking sports. I love sports. The only thing I didn't talk to was girls. It was like I'm scared. They terrify
The only
me.
pot I won't fuck with.
I've said before, I went to a really small school. Our graduation was like 80, and the only clique that didn't intermix, and I consider these people the bullies of our school, were the theater kids. The thespians.
They are
the
usually
thespians. Like
holier than thou,
everyone else
sanctimonious
partied
motherfuckers.
together. Everyone else
Yeah.
snuck off campus together. Everyone else was like, like we weren't. Everyone wasn't tight, but everyone fucking hung out with everyone, except for like that one table at lunch where it was like you, and then you could tell, and the Koreans. The Korean, like
Then in your 80-person school in Massachusetts, you had the Koreans.
And the Koreans.
the Koreans, and
How many Koreans?
there are a good amount of Koreans at my school. Yeah,
In a class of 80, how many Koreans would there be?
15.
That's a
That's almost a
huge
quarter.
percentage.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably. Well, I'm picturing it. Maybe that's a high. I'm picturing it in the lunch hall. So I guess there were different classes in that. So let's say in a school of 300 something, 360 something like that. Let's say there were 30. So it's
Still, I mean,
like,
talking 10% of your fucking school's Korean.
yeah. Yeah,
You know, in other schools, that would be like hundreds of Koreans.
of the 300, I think there was something like there were 24 states and 15 countries or something like that in the school.
Wow.
And
That's hilarious, though. There's like this Korean mafia.
they were
the mean ones,
but
huh?
even the Korean dudes like Hey June hated it when you sang Hey June to him, but
I
it
could
was
see that.
But aside from that, like he's my guy. They were fun. The separation there was a language barrier. There wasn't
Separation there was
was
xenophobia.
it was like when we hung out, we'd always just laugh, but it wasn't like we couldn't. There weren't really like a ton
Yeah.
of like full on
Yeah.
conversations. But the thespians, they were the real motherfuckers. They were.
Well, because they are like sanctimonious high horse.
But think of that at a prep school.
motherfuckers. Yeah.
Like they're
So
single
that's
high
like on
horse, right?
steroids,
Yeah.
you know? Because like theater in my school was like, I mean, I did one of the plays. Like there was the people who could sing and they were good at it, but then also like regular people would like pop into and do the show that year or whatever.
Yeah,
It was not like,
we didn't have that. You were it.
oh, really?
Like, well, you could float in different seasons, but like if it was hockey season, you couldn't be in the play. If you were a football player, the football season, you couldn't be in the play.
I remember my basketball coach was a theater guy, and my English teacher was the director. We were reading a book in his class. He liked a project I did. Long story short, my basketball coach was like, you can like be late to practice once a week while you do this or whatever. But that was because he liked theater. But it was not like you joined the club. It was just like, are you doing the play?
No,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
And
This was like
I
every
mean,
day.
they probably had their group, but it was like you could get in if you auditioned and you were good enough.
Not this one.
I remember I was like a comedic relief person or whatever, and there was also like a lot of physical comedy where there was like some fight scenes, if you will, and this was like WWF Attitude Era. And there was a scene where the guy was to pick me up on his shoulders and do like a helicopter. Not like my
Like
sideways
kind of like the
across.
torture rack, and he's
then-
spinning you around.
and then like throw me, and he was like gently let me down. I was like, let it fucking rip. Dude. He fucking
We're gonna do this.
threw
Fucking
me.
do it.
He was this big fat guy. He threw me across the stage, and I landed on my shoulder, and it made a thud. And the audience went like, and I was like, that was a wrestling bump. I just took a bump.
Is
for
that the beginning of
Shakespeare.
the shoulder
I was
problems
saying,
right
yeah,
there?
probably.
Like origin
Same.
story?
Probably. The beginning of the neck problem was one time I tombstoned myself. We were about to like have a match, like a wrestling match. And my one buddy was big, like a big guy. So he was like kind of being an Undertaker type. And he was like, I'm going to do a tombstone. And I was like, let me like feel this out at first. And I jumped and I landed on top of my head on the bed. But I just like pogo sticked and went and like felt my neck. And that was probably the beginning of it all. I just tombstoned myself and ruined my life.
And then you slept walk and fucked
Yep.
up your entire
That truly
upper
ruined,
vertebrae, whatever
ruined my life.
It is funny thinking about like childhood injuries. Like I remember like I vividly remember, which probably some doctor will correct me and say, no, you don't, like getting concussions. Where I was like, oh, that's one.
That's a problem.
Like I remember like ticking them off in my head like a fucking football player. I was like, oh, that was the third one this week.
I think I got 2 the same night. Like I think about it, which is like just 2 of shit, right? I was playing Manhunt, and I was
just about to ask about Manhunt. That's great.
Manhunt was because we lived the same life basically, and I still don't know where this place is between my parents' house and our neighbors, which is not a very big. But there was like I must have been like a concrete wall. I fell down, hit my head. I'm like, wow, I feel woozy right now. You're 10.
Whatever.
Concussion. I didn't even know what the word concussion was at that point. And then I was playing
Most of the time as a child that was concussed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then running to like free the jail, I got tackled by a kid who was probably 4 years older than me because playing with the older kids. Boom.
Head
and it was
to
like
the ground.
and you're kind of like, whoa,
yeah.
Like
got his bell rung.
Like,
There's a reason why that's a phrase. Dude, that shit, man. Like, if that stuff happened to me now, I would die.
Dave going to Ultra for 3 days, I
What?
would be dead. Or he went for 2 days, I
When?
think.
When was that?
Like last weekend.
Like last week.
Really?
We played the dozen, and he was
Dragons,
telling
too.
us how he was like noodly from it. And I was thinking,
No
I was like,
way.
I didn't want to interrupt the conversation, but I was saying, Kev, you would die if we like Thanos Ash. I just turned to Ash by the end of the third
Bro,
day.
I got to tip my cap. He's a great boyfriend. I would 1,000% just say no.
Well, now, there is obviously the caveat that I'm sure they were in VIP.
Yes, and he said he said it's better than just going to a regular club. He's like, it's outdoors, it's more spread out, people aren't coming up to you as much. So he's like, it wasn't that bad. He was like, I would never go like in though.
No, that's.
But like, I wouldn't go.
Who performs at Ultra?
Oddly enough, Ice Spice did, and they hated her.
Really?
You know, she's like the big thing in rap right now and huge on the internet.
I didn't know that name at all.
I know she looks like
she's
Annie.
She was the one who looks like Annie.
Yeah.
Okay.
The red fro.
Yep.
You know what I'm talking about
Yeah,
now?
yeah, I know.
Yeah. And she has a TikTok sound that's really popular. I think it's garbage. She's just kind of talking on the track. She's not really rapping. She's just like but people seem to love her. She's from the Bronx, so I gotta whatever. But they brought her out at like an EDM festival at Ultra, or I think it was Ultra, and it was like crickets. It's like, of course though.
I saw Ultra's at EDM.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Ultra was like the Miami EDM. There was like Electric Daisy, Ultra, Electric Zoo, but Ultra I think was like one of the biggest, if not the biggest.
I knew of Ultra. I didn't know if it was rap or EDM.
Yeah.
I knew it was something that wasn't really my speed.
In recent years, they started to blend a little bit,
Yeah.
but now I think it's back to like serious music, and Dave being there for days is like.
Where's the worst place? Where's the worst place you guys could envision going? Like as like
what
dads.
city?
Like is it a kid thing? Is it a?
I'm going to Disney World in like 3 days.
I saw that.
See that?
Yeah.
But that's going to bring you joy.
Yes, that will
Like
bring me joy.
I'm looking forward to doing Disney with my kids because they're going to love it, and I'm going to feel a profound sense of like, I did this for my kids. That's like a moment in their life.
That's why you lift all those weights. That's why you pay all those
Yeah.
bills is to get those, like the Christmas gifts.
Are
And
you guys
first
doing
time on the teacups.
The kids know because you had your hat made. Do your kids know?
No, I have not even brought it up to them. I will probably try to surprise them with
You
it.
booked
Dude,
it?
my
Are you-
parents
No,
did
no,
that.
no.
okay.
I didn't go until later in life. I've only went once as a kid, and I was not later in life, but I was probably like 5th or 6th grade, which I guess is a little later. And like that was like they packed our bags, woke us up, and they were like, "Let's go." And they got like a limo, and it's probably like the only time in my life I've been in a limo. I don't think I took one to prom, and it was like, "Get up!" And, like there's a limo in the driveway, like, and I was like. What the fuck is going on? Like, it's 4 a.m. I want to sleep. Like, I was like the
mad at
ungrateful
it.
kid. Where I was like, I would no.
Your dad's like, cancel the whole fucking thing.
The Koreans are picking on me all week, Dad. I just want to sleep right now.
It was like I mean I pretty quickly turned the corner, but you know I'm sure there was that moment where my parents were like this motherfucker.
Yep.
And we went
Absolutely
we stayed at
was.
like we actually stayed at in the time that I've been back to Disney as an adult, and in the times we was like one was a Barstool trip, one was like I went on Valentine's Day to a girl, and like we stayed in like nicer hotels. We stayed at like the Disney campground, I think it was called, or something like that.
Yeah.
We had like a wood log cabin.
Yeah,
that was
that's
fucking
cool.
sick. Yeah,
That's cool.
Everyone I know stayed there.
Yeah.
At one point, I think I stayed there once too.
I went to Disneyland when Shay was like a week old.
I remember Podfathers. You're like, yeah, I'm flying across country to go, and we're like, you dumb motherfucker.
That was one of the moments that we disagreed on. It was because of Zika. We couldn't go to Florida. That's right. But she wanted to go to Disney. She wanted to do something Disney, and so we took Shay, who was such a baby that she was cross country with Shay as a baby. She was falling asleep because she's a baby, like in line for the rides.
My kids are 8 and 5. They're going on their first flight to Disney. That's why. And you took an 8 day old basically.
That was one of the craziest things we've ever done. But
you did have the greatest thing ever, though, the time waster. I always tell this to people. When people are like, how do you fly if you have a little baby on board? And you just gave her a stack of Post-its, and she would just take the Post-its and play with them the whole ride.
Band-Aids and Post-its got me through years with my kids. There was a period where Band-Aids were just all over my apartment. They just thought of them as like stickers, basically. Yep. I don't know. It was wild. But Disney gives you some satisfaction. I just went to an Irish dance festival.
Oh, God, I saw the tweet.
Yeah. That did not give me too much satisfaction. Like, I was happy for Shay. She smiled. She was nervous, and then she did it. So I was like, oh, you accomplished something. That's cool. But other than that, I was like, if I could never do this again, I would sign for that.
Does Shay love it? Like, does she love Irish dance?
But I don't know. Kids love everything.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember my sister when I used to get dragged to my sister's recitals as a kid.
Yeah, Keegan had no interest in that shit.
I started gaslighting at a young age. I was like, you're not even good at this.
I don't even know if that's gaslighting as much as I just started shattering dreams.
It was bullying. You were bullying as a kid. You are a bully.
Like,
you're not even good at this.
You don't look around your hip hop dance class and think one of us aren't really pulling their weight.
It's fucked. Meanwhile,
I didn't actually say.
Weren't you also, doing fucking boy band dances with them too?
Well, I was gonna get something out of it. If I'm gonna go fucking sit through like a 10-hour recital. Every recital is like every hockey game combined into one.
Yeah,
it was like,
that's true.
Like, she comes to all your games. Yeah, they're over in an hour and 10 minutes,
and they're also like fun. People like to watch sports. Right? Everybody likes to watch other people dance.
Yeah, it was like, I made her teach me bye.
Cool stomp the yard shit. I don't want to fucking watch you.
We tried to save the kids too. We tried to save AJ and ourselves from it because Sienna did a dance thing, right? I think that was probably Podfather's thing, and we were like, this is too much money. It's too much time. They gouge you at a high school. It was like $25 a ticket. We're getting everyone there. It's like 6 hours long. They have your kid the first act and then like the last act.
Yes, that's the
worst. They won't let you leave the place either.
Because the audience would empty out.
It would just empty out for whoever was. So it just drove us nuts. And we took her out of dance after. They were like, we're fucking done. She doesn't really. And then she would just twirl and she would just say how much she wants to dance. We're like, you motherfucker. So now we're a dance family.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And you are too.
I'm a dance dad. I mean, Shay's been dancing since she was 2. She is. I don't know about Irish step. She can dance like regular dance for sure. And I'm like, I think we're going to be dance dad, dance girl, like dance daughter.
Clip on teeth and all?
Yeah, like, I mean, she can really do like regular routines like very well. She's already like dancing with a company. I was like, oh, fuck. She's good at that and gymnastics, which is like, oh, great. The two like most dangerous fucking things a little girl can do. Like the weirdos around, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm just looking at scholarships. You don't need to worry about that as much. I need to worry about scholarships right now. So I'm like, can you get a scholarship?
Hey, baby, can you be a lefty golfer somehow?
Yeah, handball. I always hear handball.
Handball,
like
polo. We're gonna do some Lori Loughlin shit. Yeah. What do you think is though? It's a great question. What is like the worst thing you could think of as a dad? Like, I do not want to do this.
You know what? If you're not into hockey, I've heard hockey's the worst sport.
I'm not even letting my kids know that
the money, the travel,
the rink time.
That's why all hockey dads
11 p.m.
Yep, hockey dads are so mad all the time. That's why every hockey kid gets yelled at from the Cape to Fall River every Saturday morning. He's like, I was up at 2 a.m. Couldn't even fucking score one. Like, you spent most of the day in the penalty box. What the fuck are we doing this for? It makes sense why the hockey dads are the violent ones.
Do you do religious stuff?
No,
because I'm out on that too. Like right now, like church with the kids, No fucking thank you. Your mom will take you.
We did CCD growing up.
Yeah.
And my mom was basically like, I'm either going to take you to church every Sunday or you're going to do CCD learning. And then you're on your own.
I had to do both. I go to church, I go to CCD right
that's
after.
hardcore.
Well, I had to go to church. Well, you went to a Catholic.
No, I didn't go to Catholic
no.
school until high school. Catholic school in our town, you didn't have to go to CCD because you were learning in school.
Right. I had to go to church because of my grandma. Like my grandparents made me go to church. But
Is
then
that Mama
CCD
Clancy's mom?
Yes.
I was going to say, that sounds like a Mama Clancy thing.
My mom, this is a funny story. My mom's dad was a fireman and always had like long hours and, weird hours. And so my mom didn't see him much. And she went to school that she used to go to church on Sundays with her mom and not her dad because he was at the firehouse. That was one of his shifts. So she went to Catholic school and she said, my dad's not a Catholic. Meanwhile, he went to church every day. He would find like wherever he was in the Bronx, he would go he would find a mass somewhere. So he went 7 days a week, but it was just not with them. So she was like, he doesn't go to church, so he must not be a Catholic. So you go to Catholic school in like the 60s and tell them that your dad's not Catholic. It was like, we're having a meeting with the Pope. What's going on here? But yeah, all that religious shit, I'm fucking out on that. That stuff really bothers me now.
I was ready just to throw her in CCD because I was like, I'll at least do that. And then I've been told it's like the same boring stuff. Like teach the kids, I used to love history class. It felt like you were going to story time. They're teaching it, and then you get into the wars. You have the bad guys, and we're always the good guys somehow, right? You guys say that word. And I love that shit. But it's like I've heard CCD, and they're like. Then I heard there's one church that they'll basically bang it out for you in like 3 months or something.
Yeah, like
they'll get all three.
The
I guess you
class.
she got her baptized, but then just throw communion. They get the confirmation, and you're out. And I'm like, we could do that.
That's what you were joking about.
Yeah.
Feitelberg was clowning around with the priest.
Not clowning around. I
made a joke. Feitelberg was clowning around with the priest. All right, let's keep this story going. Right?
Yeah. I misspoke. I recently became my nephew's godfather, and I obviously don't belong to a parish here, and like they were like have a signature, and I was like, well, I don't have parish, so like, all right, just talk to the priest. And I called him, and I was like, I also forgot my nephew's last name, so it's my sister's son. So I honestly like. I had gun in my head in that moment. I didn't really forget. Like I just don't.
Thought his name was Feitelberg.
I wouldn't. Like I don't even think of her as having someone else's last name.
Yeah, I hear that.
And so I was like, I'm calling about his confirmation, and he's like, I'm sure you mean baptism. I was like, oh yeah, but like, I don't know. Let's just pull some strings. Let's knock it all out this weekend, and like at least give a courtesy chuckle. It was just dead silence, and he didn't say anything until I said something else. So I had to change the subject.
You're going at a priest with humor, man. I don't know. That's on you.
It was like 4 p.m. I figured he was drunk. But yeah, that was my so the night we had the baptism, and that was my first time in church in a long time. And like I've often said that I obviously don't practice or anything like that, and I thought maybe I was kind of drinking my own Kool-Aid, and I was playing up how uncomfortable I was with it more than I actually was. Where I was like, no, like, it gives me the heebies. I don't fuck with that stuff anymore. Blah blah blah. And then I was in church for the first time, and God knows, because I'm actually someone
Even worse.
I was so like I was like physically uncomfortable. I was like scratching myself.
It is the weirdest thing.
Just like listening to stuff and looking around. I was like, I don't.
And
like,
when you really don't believe it, and then you know what's really going on behind the scenes and shit, you're like, this is insanity that we're still.
That was
see the guy on the cross, and you're like, wait a minute, this was.
Are you Catholic?
Yes.
Yeah, Catholic.
I think
is crazy.
I guess
Catholic really focuses on the crucifixion, big time. Other denominations do the cross, but he's not fucking nailed up there, you know. So as a little kid, you're like, what's that? What's on his side? Oh, they stabbed him with a spear.
Oh, if I took AJ, who's about to turn 5, and I just walked him around church and the Stations of the Cross are up, I'm going to get 1,000 fucking... I can't make it through a commercial without 1,000 questions.
Right.
I have a guy getting murdered in slow motion, essentially.
Dude, one of the best questions I've ever gotten from my kids. I love when Keegan hits me with questions because they're usually pretty good ones. He goes... And the way they just come out of nowhere... We're in the car. He's in the back. It's just me and him. We're driving, and he just goes, "Hey, Dad," and I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, how come mermaids don't need goggles? And I was like, you know what? I got nothing, kid.
Yeah.
It's like,
Salt water does hurt.
I was like, they don't really have gills, and they do have the fins. Their eyes are probably human eyes. They probably should have goggles.
They're basically legally blind down there. Like, they don't see what they're fucking swimming at.
Let me tell you something. I had the fresh pineapple chicken tacos from Hellofresh, and I have not stopped thinking about them since I got them. Hellofresh has the widest array of menus out of any of the home delivery companies. They have everything you need from your classics, burgers, and all that chicken, all the way to authentic foreign cuisine. They have everything you need for your different dietary needs. If you have gluten issues or vegetarian issues, anything like that, they've got the fancy stuff, they've got the staples, they've got it all, and they make it so easy that I can come home and have some fresh pineapple chicken tacos. I mean, ordinarily, when I'm ordering from someplace, I'm either spending too much money, or I'm getting some greasy shit, or it gets delivered cold and nasty, and I'm having some lame dinner. But with HelloFresh, I'm able to have things like the falafel power bowls, or pork chops, and all these things that I would never ordinarily have. But HelloFresh has them available in easy to follow, easy to read, and easy to cook instructions. It's all pre-portioned ingredients, so you just open the bag, you put it in. You don't have to worry about how much to put in, or when to put in, or how to cook. You don't have to be anything like an expert. You can do everything they say on the recipe card, and you can have meals in 15, 20, 30 minutes or less. Go to HelloFresh.com/KFC50. Use promo code KFC50 and get 50% off plus free shipping. That's half your boxes off and free shipping when you go to HelloFresh.com/KFC50. Promo code KFC50. Start cooking today.
So anyway, to bring this all back, like even CCD and all that shit.
Did you call Central City dump? I'm sorry. Okay, that was one of my favorite consistent things,
dude,
across.
That's funny you say that though, because at that point I was living outside of Philly, so I thought that was like a Pennsylvania thing. But even back in New York, they were doing it.
And then
we thought it was so funny. CCD, Central City dump.
I think Trent might have said it. Like Midwesterner people have told me
So,
they said
okay,
it too.
it's like everywhere.
It's the weirdest thing that out of the letter CCD, those words stuck across the country.
That is funny that you say that though, because I was going to bring up in the conversation the other guy I thought we would be friends with if we met outside of this was Trent.
Trent might be my favorite. Like I don't see him ever anymore. I don't come in the office. He's always traveling.
I also don't talk to him ever because he doesn't respond to text messages.
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Me and Trey will just occasionally send one text to each other.
Yeah,
we don't do the picture
thing.
Nah, we don't do the pictures often anymore. I gotta get back on that.
But you did, yeah. You had this cool thing going where he would just send a cool picture of we're in Arizona with Bert. Let me send a picture to Trent, and he would send one back. I would be sitting there, and I would open up my conversation and look at how many. The last 10 messages from me on red. You motherfucker, Trent.
And it's everything else
I'm
about him so lovable.
this weekend.
But that's so
Yeah.
I might just start sending him my kids' pictures. Him and my wife will just be on the thing. I'm just going to start sending it to him, and I'm going to keep sending until he replies or blocks me. And I don't know if Trent has the real heart to block me, so he's going to keep
He'll throw a turn off notification.
Big time.
He's so fucking, I just love that guy, man. Every time I see him, we just hug each other.
I feel like it's mostly music driven. Because we all really listen to that music. And then that makes you dress a certain way and act a certain way. So I feel like that's the central thing. But I think we all would have been very good friends.
I think so too. I mean, we just come in, and I remember at the old office, we'd come in and just talk about 50 Cent and G Unit for an hour.
So now that we're not listening to any new rap, what I've been doing with Trent is I'm just sending him videos of old Jay-Z clips or look what sample this song came from that we didn't know, or
that
whatever.
Biggie shit almost broke me when you had the thing about how he stole his whole persona.
That was the pain of finding out Santa Claus is not real.
It was, I believe, Trent was the first one. Was it Trent who unveiled the Matt Barnes pump fake at Kobe being fake? And it's whoa, and that was the music version of that basically.
That one hurt too.
Biggie sounded exactly,
bro. This guy. His name was the Notorious B1. He's a big fat black guy, and he made a song using the same sample as Juicy, and it was the Notorious B1, aka Big Daddy instead of Big Papa. It's It's
Really?
like, dude. And so if you hear the songs,
Biggie committed suicide before someone found out.
so I think that Puffy, what back in the day was like, I need a star, you know?
Yeah.
And I think he found this guy, but needed it to be a New York guy, or Biggie, you know, Christopher Wilde's Biggie was like his friend. So he's like, I want to do it with him. But this guy, there's one email allegedly from this guy that said, we knew what was going on. We saw what happened, and we were going to pursue like legal action, but then he died. And I was like, that was 1992, 3, 4. He didn't die till 97. There was plenty of years in there where people were calling him the best rapper of all time. And you're just sitting down in Mississippi being okay with it.
Is this guy alive?
So I think he's either dead or he's sitting on a fat stack of cash.
Yeah.
And they were like, it's like a non-disclosure sort of thing. Like,
How did it
can't
get
speak
like
up.
exposed?
So I saw it on where did I see it? A random TikTok. And it had like not so many views. And then I researched it. A couple rap podcasts, none of the big ones, have ever mentioned it. And I did the 1 Minute Man, and people were like, what the fuck? I mean, it
ruined
sounds...
childhoods is what you did.
I know. I was like, I don't want to do this, but I have to. The song itself is like...
That hurts.
That's not Biggie. And Biggie even says in Juicy, from the Mississippi down to the East Coast, and they think that might have been like a nod to him. He's from Mississippi. So that was like...
I felt from the Mississippi down to the East Coast?
Yeah, isn't that weird? I think that's what he says, right?
From the Mississippi
down to the East Coast. It doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense
Yeah,
whatsoever.
I remember thinking that myself. But I don't know, for whatever reason, I think that...
From Canada all the way down to Mexico. I'm sorry,
No,
from Mexico all the way down to Canada.
We would have been a trio. Me, you, and Trent would have been
and
a
I think that
trio.
that lifestyle of like growing up like that, I think if you found anybody, there was other people that lived that way, we would be cool. Like, I don't know what it is, but I think like, so if you don't know the backstory, Clem and Cons used to come to Saloon for the game watches, just as like, just to hang out. And it's funny.
We're readers. We're fans.
Yeah, but it's funny because I think of Cons as a fucking leech, a hangers-on, a fucking a parasite,
a real asshole.
And Clem, I'm just like, oh yeah, no, Clem used to come and hang out.
I was gonna say, I don't think I knew that of Cons. I don't think I knew that.
Clem used to come around, and then when I went on my honeymoon, you wrote for
yeah. So how I got started.
Yeah,
at
tell the
Barstool.
whole story.
Yeah, so I got started at Barstool. I've obviously followed you guys, big fan of the site and all that stuff. And I never in a million years dreamt of doing any kind of content. And then my wife was pregnant. We had 29 years left on our mortgage, and I was about to get laid off by ESPN. And I was like, well, this is like out of a fucking movie, right? It's like this shit's about to be bad. And Dave posted his like blog he would do every year. It's like, if you want to work for Barstool Sports, and had like the Uncle Sam thing.
We're still using the same one.
Yeah, I think we are. I think I saw it pretty recently. And he's like, blog is if you work for Barstool, and if it's good, we'll hit you up, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, fuck it, let's just start blogging. And I had a Twitter at the time, and I don't know if you guys, you know, when you first started tweeting, I tweet just like everyone did. It was just straight vanilla shit looking back on it now, you know? And then I always compare it to like Howard Stern and Private Parts, where after that happened, I was like, all right, let's just start fucking getting the dumb thoughts in here and putting them on the internet. And kind of just when he breaks and he starts going from a regular DJ to just like Howard Stern. I'm not comparing myself to Howard Stern, but it was like that kind of thing where it's like, I'm down and out. I have to start fucking let it rip. So I started a blog. Started getting my
Clem
tweets.
Report,
the
right?
Clem Report, yeah.
.com,
I went through like 1,000 names. Everything was taken, and on Twitter. And I was like, I went with the Clem Report. I'm like, this won't stick. And I'm like, motherfucker. Like, it's just I hate my name. I hate the thing, but it's like I couldn't think of anything better. And I started blogging.
You're on KFC Radio right now, so I can relate.
That's why I love it. And then I started blogging there, and I interacted with you guys, and it was early Twitter, so it wasn't a huge, group of us, and you guys were all cool. And I remember when you guys would follow me, I was like, oh my god, Kevin's following.
He was one of those OG, like, he's a civilian but he's funny.
And then I kept blogging, and then I think it was probably summer 2014, Brendan hit me up and was like, hey, we have our KFCRadio.com, because at this point, podcasts were the blackhead, the redhead stepchild of Barstool, because of Dave. And he's like, we're going to try to grow the website, and if you want to blog, we're going to put the blogs on the website.
That was when we had the idea. We were like, we almost need a minor league blog where it's like, maybe you're not good enough or whatever to put it on like the main site, but we want to get you some reps where some people can read it and all that shit.
Yep.
So there was KFCRadio.com.
And then you were like, hey, just, blog whatever you want. And if it's good, I'll put it on. And I had met you at a couple of the watch parties. And the other thing I did, which was I learned a fucking entire new Adobe program called, I think, Flash.
This is the origin story for Clem.
Yeah, this got me into Barstool. So I was like, I could blog, I could do this, but I was like, I need someone to kind of separate me from all the other people that want to get in there. So I learned Adobe Flash to build a website. Now listen, I haven't done anything this technical.
It's so funny knowing it now that it's like, you did what?
I'm looking at YouTubes. I'm looking at like just trying to read directions that look like they're written in Korean. I'm sure your friends could help me out there. And I basically built a soundboard, 2 soundboards. And it's for the people that don't know, I don't know how, I feel like soundboards have gone the way of the dodo. But you click on like a
soundboard was
a great one.
Who's your daddy and what does he do? Would you guys prank people using that? That's all we did in college. We just laugh for hours, at 3 a.m. And I made 2 soundboards using Flash, and it looked really nice. And I made a Mike Francesa soundboard. Obviously, I used Kevin's shirt for the old school. The background, and then I made a Barstool soundboard, and I went through so much of you goddamn idiots,
That's weird. I remember the Francesa one. I don't remember
you don't remember that
one.
Yeah. Really? No. So the Francesa one had all his things. I had sex with Mickey Mantle, or I met Secretary, like all his just nuts. Get lost. And then I even made like light versions, because back then phones couldn't handle it, let alone some fucking website browsers. And then I made a Barstool one as well, and I went through a lot of the KFC radio stuff. I went through rundowns. I had Big Cat saying he could like knock out Floyd Mayweather.
Does that still exist by any chance?
So I've looked for it in the past,
I just went to look, and the IP is no longer
thank
active.
God, because I don't know if there's anything out there that goes. It was Barstool Sounds.
The KFC soundboard. These Asians are fucking.
And you guys each had, so there was the Dave section, there was the Kevin section, the Feitelberg section, the Big Cat section. I think that's about, and then there was just other random things, probably some sounds or whatever, some like music. And I remember I went up to you and I was like, hey man, I just want to like make sure it's cool. I'm making this Mike Francesa thing. Can I use your graphic? You're like, yeah, sure, man.
Yeah.
So that was that. And then so I think it was like summer 2014, I was writing for your site. And then that like in October,
that was when I went on the honeymoon.
That was October 2014. Okay, yeah. So
I was going to be gone for a couple weeks, and we needed somebody to cover the blog. And I think
I think it was probably in September. You said, "Listen, do you want to be the Knicks guy here?" I was like, I'll still blog the Knicks, but you could kind of just like focus on them and then blog anytime you see anything crazy or good with the Knicks, more crazy than good, obviously back then. Blog it, and then if it's good, it goes up. And he's like, if I want to take it, I was like, yeah, sure. You're fucking a million times better at this than I am. And you said on Saturdays, that's kind of when some of us are trying to get out, live a life.
Blogging,
if you want to blog, so on Saturdays,
that was the original JMac too.
JMac,
nights and weekends. We did a lot of different ways to try to get people in the door.
Exactly, and I just would fucking anything that was funny, I'd throw it. I'd like put it in draft or submit it, and then if you thought it was good and no one else had it, you'd throw it up on the site. And I remember I did like a full NFL preview conference, division by division, and it was like who's the fantasy guy to get, who's this, who's that, and then I compared each team to a porn star, and you took all the porn stars and you just lumped it into its own. But you're like, listen, the other stuff that's fine. This is, I remember
that's getting published.
Those are my first 2 blogs published. It was like Clem's it was like under your name. It was like, this is Clem. He's working on the KFC Radio. It's our minor league system, and those 2 went up. And I remember like it did well. I remember I'll never forget the Smitty DM. He's like, hey man, I just saw a thing really good. I was like, oh fuck, like the other guys are taking notice of it too. And it did that. What?
Who were the Pats?
I can't
find it.
Maybe that's up there. I know that's up there.
Oh, Dev Nest. Yeah.
That one's definitely up there. And then did that for about a year. Like one of the part timers, which is why I always think that I I resonate with like, and all the people here, the new, the old, whatever, but like me and like the Chicago guys, like those guys who are grinding for years, you know, so
sports specific and grinding for a long time and all that.
Local to us.
What got you the like full-time job?
So this one kind of came out of the blue. It was November 2015. And you just hit me up one day. It was like, yeah, Dave, I was talking to Dave and he says he's interested in, he'd be interested in having you.
I was going to say, I do think that's why I asked because, here we go. NFC East, the Cowboys, the Giants for Asa Akira, Melissa King for the Eagles, Sasha Gray. just do a
completely overrated.
Give me just do a control search
guy.
For the Jets.
You couldn't tell by the overrated.
And the,
this one was
Pats.
just NFC. I think the headline was NFC.
Okay, that's why. I mean, but talk about a perfect old school Barstool blog.
Dude, who's that last chick? She was fucking one of Charlie Sheen's angels. No, never mind.
Who did I have? The Seahawks.
Brie Olsen, yeah.
I think that still plays. The Seahawks are always in the mix. Mia Malkova's
yeah.
always in the mix.
Mia is still very much in the mix, bro. That is like such a perfect old school Barstool blog.
And I remember you saying to me, you said, you know, obviously you always have my back.
Wait, go back. I want to read that what I wrote. This was done by the Clem Report. He's been doing some writing on KFCRadioshow.com, which is just a website that I'm kind of treating like the farm system. Before any rumors get started, I'm not leaving Barstool and I'm not starting my own site. This is just a simple site where you can find podcasts I record in one place, and I've been testing out writers who have shown interest, but I can't just throw them on Barstool. Clem did full actual football breakdowns, but his porn star comparisons is the Pulitzer stuff. What's funny is
there's the AFC.
The
AFC's right there.
That might be dead.
I think it's there. It's loading.
The Wi-Fi just sucks.
So
No,
wow. So Clem was Clem and one other dude. Do you remember St. Brendan?
Yeah, St. Brendan. Yeah, sure.
So he ended up in a totally different field. He works in like technology or something. But it was like another dude who was kind of funny. But I remember like we gave him, you know, some like, here you go, start blogging. And then, you know, sometimes what someone who's funny on Twitter becomes, it's like, oh boy, this is not going to work, you know? But it was like, I think he did blog for, I think he tried to put up some blogs.
He got some stuff on, you know, he got some stuff on New York, and it's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny how you're mentioning this because the guy, when you left, you still had to have someone who was kind of like the editor for New York, and it was Trent. You gave Trent the keys, and Trent put it up, and Brendan had some stuff, and Brendan had some funny stuff. But I remember Brendan also, I think, tried to published once without Trent's thing, and Trent took it right down.
Yeah, there was he did
something
something wrong where I remember being like, yikes, like I kind of, you know, co-signed you, and but he was a really nice guy, and I think he came up to me. He ended up getting jacked.
Yeah, he's a gym guy. Yeah,
and he came up to me being like, you know, just thanks for the opportunity, and like, I'm not going to do this anymore, but I'm blah blah blah. But it's just funny, like there are these just random.
Everyone has their weird stories, man.
And like, and then but so I remember Dave, because I remember telling all you guys, I was like, bro, I love all you guys. I would hire you all in a heartbeat if I could. I just don't have the money, and I don't have the pull. And I'm just, you know, it's up to Dave. And I think Dave was just the one who was like, what's up with Clem? Does he want a job? And I was like, yes. I was so fucking pumped because I think it just came out of the clouds. I would always advocate for you, but there was never a time where it was like, hey, Dave, you got to hire Clem. I was always just like, these are my guys. They're all funny, whatever you think. And he was down with it. So I don't know if you wrote something that clicked in his mind or whatever, but I'm pretty sure he just offered it out of the blue.
Yeah, and it was one of those things that, like you said, just completely out of the blue. Because I still remember when I got the text when I was in Costco. You're like, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, Mom? Mm-hmm. I was with my mom at the time, you know, and I'm I just potentially got an offer here. And I remember you had said it was during that text message, or you said, you know, Dan, Big Cat, obviously, like, Big Cat, you know, was speaking up for you a couple times, and you said fights always have my back, and I was like, I really appreciate that. But Dave is always like, I was like, I don't know if Dave even knows I exist. Like, back then, I didn't know if Dave, and there was like 8 of us, right? Let alone now there's 800 of us. So it was just one of those things like, holy
Which is
shit.
so funny now to be Team Ziti.
And now that's,
you guys
he's
are
my
like
captain.
Breaking news, your boy KFC bought a house, and the very first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I secure it with Simplisafe. Simplisafe is the best in-home security technology today because it is effective, and it's affordable, and it's easy to install. You don't have to have some weirdo coming over to install it for you. First of all, that's how they get you. Those are the guys who are casing the joint. They scope it out and they know all your weak points, and then they come back and they're the ones that rob you because they know all the codes and they know everything. So avoid that by installing it yourself. And the other way you can do that is if you go through Simplisafe, that has the easy to install 15, 20 minutes. They talk you through it. Next thing you know, your entire house and your entire property is safe because they have not only the indoor cameras, but they now also have the outdoor cameras. The best technology when it comes to the cameras, the lights, the sensors, anything you need. And right now, when you go to simplisafe.com/KFC Radio, you get 20% off when you get the interactive monitoring package. This is the best and easy way to make sure that you, your belongings, and your loved ones are all safe. And save that money by going to simplisafe.com. It's simply with an I, SIMPLI, safe.com/KFC Radio. Get 20% off that interactive monitoring package.
There's no safe like Simplisafe.
I hate it, bro. I want to root for Eddie and Clem so hard, and I can't because it's Dave.
I do love when you guys get Team Z is my favorite team to watch, probably. Because just Dave gets so excited, Dave.
Big boys.
Dave's not a guy you can see you see genuine happiness a lot, and it is infectious with Dave. And he's I remember being at the live show in Arizona, and he was like, "Oh,
my big boys."
We played you guys when I was still on the family. No, it wasn't us. It was I just saw a highlight on Twitter or whatever, and it was I forget what he said. He said something "You guys just got a taste of the Ziti. Smack you around with some food. Game's over."
Yo, we had a all-time classic match, barn burner. Your boy took down the dub. But the funniest moment of the whole thing, Jeff's round 7, chain restaurants, double. Dave right away, double. Doesn't even ask them, double, and they got it right.
You had both right?
Yeah. No. They got their question right. It was, now, I do have to admit, it was a much easier batch of questions. I think he had a lot of matches to put out. These were definitely easier, so I can't thump my chest too much. But first team to ever answer all their questions right. They got they missed one, but they got the bonus round. So
it got double.
Evened out.
Yeah.
So it's 15-15 to head into overtime, and we won on overtime. It was the dozen listeners, a survey of 1,000 dozen listeners.
Family Feud shit.
Family Feud, the top 30 logos in the world, which
most recognizable.
I thought we were going to go for days. We get our first 5 right. It's on Dave, the captain, who was quietly trying to call himself the MVP of the match. Clem, what did you say?
Toyota.
What did Eddie say?
Pepsi.
What did Dave go with?
Netflix.
What was Netflix?
31.
31st logo. And we take home the win on what Jeff was saying was a Hall of Fame legendary match, never been done before. And Dave, that motherfucker, if I'm the final answer for my team, if I went against Rudy and Jack Mac and picked and was wrong for the loss, Dave would have thrown a fucking party. His team loses, he goes well, I don't know. Netflix is a good choice. What can you do? I was no, fuck this. Fuck that, man. It was watching you have to play with Dave sucks.
It was tough too.
I'm telling you, he's my number one guy. Clem is he's my right-hand man, and I got to watch him compete. He should be on my dozen team, not Dave's. It makes me sick. And it's like watching you play for the Yankees or something.
Keegan grows up and becomes a Yankee when it's all said and done.
It kills me.
Because Dave was given shit too, because me and Eddie made the All-Star team. We got voted. And it is the truth though. Me and Eddie wouldn't even be on the All-Star radar if Dave wasn't our final answer. No,
they give him so much credit because he's the fucking boss. They say that he talks them out of double guessing themselves and he gives the right final answers. You two answer every question.
But no, if you watch because Rico was the original Ziti. That was the third member of Ziti. And it was just 3 morons talking themselves out of the right answer every single fucking time.
Yeah,
and then Dave came in.
A guy who just knows to go with it.
And we're and then he's I think it's, Chris Middleton. And he's final answer. And boom.
It's probably more because he's I got to get the fuck out of here. But yeah, man, I mean, there's so many Barstool Loki variants universes out there, and I don't even know what it would have been like without the Clem report, man.
It's crazy, man, and so it's thanks to you. I threw that shit out there, and And it's like, I think we all think this with the job here. It's like, it's work, but it's also luck, it's timing, it's a million different things. But at the same point, like if I didn't start that blog, I know for sure I wouldn't have done
You're a perfect example of how to do it right. Like you blogged and you made yourself, like you made something valuable in that soundboard. Let me ask you this, because this is a question I could never answer and something I could never experience. What is it like being the most likable person on the internet?
I don't think that's true.
Oh, come on.
I don't think that.
There's a couple others. Trent's up there.
Have you ever had, no, but yes, Trent's up there. Trent has a lot of haters too. Trent went through a tough phase of like get rid of Iowa, like Trent sucks.
Oh, way back
all that shit.
Yeah. But I think now.
But he went through the fire, you know?
Yeah.
By the way, shout out Dave for making an Iowa site. I still remember like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
and then look at Trent, Mr. fucking like rubbing elbows with all the golfers.
I know, right? Fucking hanging out with Tiger Woods because Iowa kicked a field goal against Michigan that one time and brought him to New York too. But
his story too, where he wanted to make a shirt and he just asked Dave, "Hey Dave, how do I get around this C and D stuff?" And he's like, this is how you do it. By the way, do you want to work for Barstool and open an Iowa site?
The fact that was very cool of him to be like, we do whatever comes our way.
Yeah,
like we want Chicago next, but if Iowa comes first, like so be it. Iowa. But I mean, Clem, there's nobody in the world that dislikes you. Do you have haters?
Yeah, I mean, go through the mentions. I've muted them all.
See, I think that's the thing. Like, I think you say that sometimes where you're like, no one does it. It's like, normal people just don't read other people's mentions.
Yeah, I mean, who's hating on Clem?
I'd be like, I can't fathom it.
What would you even say?
Yeah.
What does a hater of Clem say?
I mean, so you're gonna have people if I cover a team, they don't like if I'm not.
That doesn't count.
No, but I'm saying like if they're like you're not
like, do you have people who are like fucking your podfather takes her like you're wrong? That's not how you raise a kid. Fuck you, Clem.
I imagine that's a pretty volatile part of the internet.
Yeah, that's probably if we luckily I don't think we will ever go crazy enough. So I just had a Star Wars take, and I'm getting all this stuff. Okay. I'm getting the Star Wars fans. I said that the Baby Yoda stuff. He looks silly when he jumps.
It looks
totally does,
and
that is like absolutely a fact.
Yes.
That's factual.
And I'm like, I love the guy and I think it's fine for what it is, but if he's in like a big scene and he's fighting people and he's just looks like Kermit jumping, it's gonna look ridiculous. Yeah. I was like, fucking they had Yoda as a CGI. He was jumping in the movies back in the day. It looked awesome. And I just was like, I don't go on Instagram much, and I do, and I just see like this guy needs to read a book or this guy needs to kill himself, and it's just like, all right. So there are haters out there.
I'm happy that somebody told Clem to kill himself.
But I will say this though, Robbie, who does does everything for My Mom's Basement. He records it, he cuts it, he edits it, he does everything, and like. He's like, yo, our TikTok's taking off on Baby Yoda right now. It was like at 250K in like a day. And I'm like, I think TikTok's all funny numbers anyway. Yeah, but I'm like, all right, like maybe we have to be the mean nerds. Yeah. Or we just have our takes and everyone hates us.
Imagine if there's a Clem heel turn. It's like, fuck all you guys.
I'll flip sides like Anakin. Fuck it. That means, at the end of
you were the chosen one, Clem. Oh, man.
I think Spider is like the most lovable guy here when it's all said and done. Spider, Trent.
I'm with you, but I mean, as far as pure enjoyable blogging and like great family, good takes, funny guy, good trivia, all that shit. I don't know, man. You're the full fucking package.
I appreciate that.
If I could probably have one persona on like be, I don't know what I'm trying to say, like switch internet lives with or something. Mm-hmm. I think it would be you.
You mean didn't enjoy like getting kicked off of Twitter for hating a tournament that 90% of the country didn't give a flying fuck about? And
by the way, did you see that fucking social media updated a lot of those numbers? 97% of homes in Japan were watching. It was like 42%.
So, Phil tweeted that out as like a gag, like kind of like they do with the LCB with the maps.
Oh, that was just totally made up.
It was made up. And then they had to do the correction on it. Well, actually,
fucking hilarious.
Because everyone believes that shit, and
I'm sure you also
want it to be real.
90 quadrillion cotillion people were watching too. You fucking losers.
Apparently, Johnstown was watching though.
Oh man, I love it, dude. I mean, so I know you got to do My Mom's Basement in a second, but what do you like?
By the way, this feels like My Mom's Basement. This is my first time in the studio. This is fucking like I think Robbie's original logo was like the same wood paneling and shit. I dig it.
What is like your, I don't know, like when it's all said and done for you, like what would you like describe Barstool as, like, in your words, or like, where do you think it's going to go? Or just like, Barstool to Clem.
Yeah. So they asked us like to answer this question back at like when we first moved in HQ. I remember. I don't know if it was for some sort of promo thing or an upfront. And someone said it, and I kind of just copied their answer, but I feel like it's getting more and more. I feel like every single sector of not even entertainment, just like the world in general, but maybe we'll stay away from the politics and the heavy news stuff.
Riggs has got it.
Yeah, exactly. I just wrote genocide
the
for the last
smartest fucking move of all time. I'm gonna go golf 24/7. He was like, he saw what was coming with that boy Trump. I was like, I'm out on this one. I'll use it to get me a job, and I'm never talking about it again.
But I think we have a place where every single side there needs to, like, the Barstool spin on stuff. You know what? I mean?
We were just talking about it. I think we got away from that a little bit.
Yes.
We started to hire like experts and people that were specializing in that field. And I think we got to get back to, I'm a guy or a girl who talks about everything. And I can comment on, all of these different things.
Yep.
Rather than like, this is what I do. I cover this. I'll give you all the information you need to know. I know it. I'm smart. You're wrong. It's just like,
it is like the like cyclicalness of the internet. Like when we started, that was what was popular. What everyone wanted was like, someone who could just like a fucking Swiss Army knife. I can do anything you want. What do you want me to do?
I can talk about all this different stuff.
And then it kind of became like now it's like if you're not doing a 30 tweet thread about the analytics or something,
you don't know what you're talking
then
about.
you like and it's like, well, I don't.
You know what
I can't do that. I can just say that guy's good.
I think it was the internet and the blog and influencers or whatever got popular enough that there was so many people that started to watch that it felt almost like I got to be if like 200,000 people are going to listen to this or follow this or whatever, I got to know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I think the best example is I want to find people going forward that are willing to say they don't like The Wire or The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Like people like, you're the TV guy, but it's like, yeah, because I like some shows and I don't like some shows.
Right.
And I'm not just going to say that one of the, everyone else agrees is the best show ever, so it has to be true. Like, give me a real, honest opinion on like what you think, and I think you were very good at that too. It's just like, I'm a regular dude commenting on all these different, sects of society or whatever.
I am currently watching The Sopranos for what I think is my first time, but everything reminds me of like I think I've seen this, but it's very good. Obviously, it doesn't hold up quite so well. The death scenes are laughable. The death scenes are
sure they are
like hilariously bad. And Christopher Moltisanti doesn't know how to shoot a gun. Every time he shoots, he punches, and it's like, I'm not an expert, but I don't think that is. It's fine. It's good. It's good. I'm watching it, but it is. I'm like, I bet it was better in '96.
I never said it's like poorly made. It's just like I don't like it. It's not like I'm saying it's a bad show.
Also,
it's not for me.
Fucking too many Italians.
The guineas.
There you go.
Clem is a fucking guinea.
They also
it's crazy.
I'm half and half. I'm half.
Yeah, but like he has an Italian side of him that I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
What's shocking to me about The Sopranos is how it inspired, at least in my eyes, a like generation of people, like re-inspired, like The Godfather and Goodfellas kind of that have been at least a decade before. Well, Godfather's more so. Goodfellas probably like a decade, and I think The Sopranos kind of kicked off like the mob stuff again. And like not only just doing mob movies and shows, but like people acting like that and like being like wanting to be like,
Marinade,
because none of those people are living well.
None
of those people are living aspirational.
No,
like like everyone lives in like a 2-decker fucking like ranch style house. Like, bro, you're putting your life on the line every day for this, bro.
It's crazy.
Like that, it's like I'm in like season 3 right now. And, like
the code,
Ralphie
the family,
and Ralphie and Rosalie went together. And like they went to their house, like that dude's a captain. He's a made man.
Yeah,
that's where he
Stacks
lives.
Of money.
His son drives an Impala. What are you fucking talking about? That this is the life you're getting into. People watch that like I want to be a fucking Italian guy. Like, dude, go work at Fidelity. You'll be much better off.
Now everyone wants to be a YouTuber or a TikToker.
Yeah, for real. Well, I know you got to go do my mom's basement, so we'll do another one where you can really dig into your career and everything else, because I feel like you just kind of did the surface level. But you're one of the best hires ever, and you're one of the best dudes to ever come through my life. And I'm very happy that you're a part of it.
I appreciate that, pal.
Actually,
I do have a gift. I have a gift for the. Now you don't have to put it up. I brought a gift. I've had it for the old studio.
Oh, we're definitely putting it up. Whatever it is.
But I can never get it on the. Like I used to take the train whenever I come in, but today I could drive because I was coming later, so it was too big. So let me just get it real quick.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's going
It's
up.
going up.
No one's ever actually given us a gift, right? All these things are usually just stupid things. The big reveal.
So it's not a re-gift. It's something that I had in the house that I couldn't keep up in the house anymore. And I was like, I got to put this somewhere at the office. And obviously the old HQ, the old KFC Radio, I would have put it in. But I just never could fit it. But it's a niche thing, but I know you'll appreciate it because, again, we're the same basement.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic.
I might need a new frame. The frame that was in the garage.
The classic Bill
The
Ripken.
Billy Ripken fuckface is fantastic.
Unbelievable.
That was custom made. I bought it for myself, and then I had it up in the house until Sienna learned how to read. Then I had to take it down, and now I have kids that are just be living in a house. So this is like the grown-up kids can put this up.
This is like perfect for the basement.
I had that card.
Did you
Really?
Oh yeah.
It's a great card.
This is a piece of this is Barstool.
That's Barstool. Yeah, that's what I see when I see
we'll cover. Yeah, we'll talk about baseball cards, not like the King Griffey Jr. rookie card, the Bill Ripken fuckface card. This is what it's all about. This is the perfect gift. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
For sure. Going on.
I love you guys. Keep
Love you
fucking
too, baby.
rocking and rolling here, and and I hope I'll be on a little more now. I feel like the office is opening up, and there's going to be a lot of different.
It's a
things
whole
changing.
new era, bro, and you can be as much a part of it as you ever want.
I just got approval to play video games with copyrighted music, so
Let's go. All right, you have a job for life, brother. Never worry. Never worry.
Make sure you subscribe to KFC Radio on YouTube to get all the video content. Subscribe, comment, like, and make sure you turn on the bell notifications so you know whenever new video content drops.
I want to say something, but the video has to be faster. That's it.